Alright, it's the beginning of the year, or the end of the year, however you look at it. But we have my top 25 albums of the year of 2023. Let's get into it. At number 25, we have Ken Carson's A Great Chaos. To me, this album was just fun, electrifying, and it brings that rage aesthetic to what he was going for. I mean, it just brings that rage hip-hop style, and I think it does it very well. And I think when you look back on it, it'll be like one of those more, I don't want to say essential albums, but essential for a certain sound that you're looking for. At 24, we have Earl Sweatshirt and The Alchemist, Your Dyer, I think that's how you say it. The thing I gotta say about this is I'm not a big fan of Earl. I just really haven't listened to a lot of his music, and the songs that I have heard were okay. But this album was it was pretty good. The production obviously is there. It's The Alchemist. It's always going to be there. Alchemist is like a great producer. The lyrics and storytelling on this album were pretty good. I liked it for the most part. Nothing crazy for me. It's very Earl Sweatshirt-like, so if you like Earl, you're going to like this album. At 23, we have Pink Pantheress, Heaven Knows. I'm going to be completely honest. This snuck in here like pretty recently. Yeah, I know, The Boys I Liar. What a fire song, right? There's other songs on here like Mosquito, very catchy, very catchy. It's just very fun, electronic-y, poppy. It's just catchy to me. And I think her voice works really well with whatever beat she chooses to, like, I don't know, sing over, I guess you would say. It's different. I've never really heard anything like it, which I think is also plays into her favor a lot for me. Alright, at 22, maybe a little bit of hot take. I have Lil Uzi Vert's The Pink Tape. Me personally, I still liked it as a whole. Yes, there were some questionable songs on there, but I think overall it's experimental for Uzi. It's definitely rock heavy inspired, with a little bit of like some here and there. You have some Afrobeat on there, and this is different from usual Uzi. I still think you get the essential Uzis like on there, like Flooded the Face ×2, Pluto to Mars. I mean, there's other songs that people will really like Patience. I'm not a huge Patience guy with Don Toliver, but I think it's a cool song. I can recognize that it's a cool song. But overall, to me, this is still one of the better mainstream albums that have come out in 2023. At 21, we have Trippie Redd's A Love Letter to You 5. To me, really surprising. Trippie had a very bad year, in my opinion, to start off. He had Mansion Music, he released it, and apparently a lot of it was leaked, so he was like, I'm just gonna put it out. Not the best idea. He should have just waited and tried to mix and master everything, and maybe he would have had a better project. But I think A Love Letter to You 5 is a very solid project, probably one of the better ones in the series of A Love Letter to You. Phenomenal vocal performances, great rapping performances on here. The features were great, like Lil Wayne, The Kid Laroi, Sky Morales. The beats for the most part on here were really surprising to me. A very, very, very solid Trippie album. I think this is one that everybody should check out if you're a Trippie fan, or if you like that type of music that he's in. At 20, we have someone who just does a little bit more vocals, just a tad better for me, and that's Rod Wave. We got Rod Wave with Nostalgia. Honestly, better vocals. It's classic Rod Wave. If you like Rod Wave, you're gonna like this album for the most part. And he doesn't really do anything new. That's why this isn't higher on my list. But I think that Rod Wave, he has his sound and he does it pretty well. He has those hard-hitting lyrics. He has those great vocals that he can lay down on the track. And there's even a song on here that is more trappy than what you would call a Rod Wave song, I guess. I think it's called Backlit or 2018, I forget. It's one of those two. At number 19, we have Westside Gunn's And Then You Pray For Me. Apparently it didn't live up to the previous project. And now I haven't heard the first one, so I don't really know too much about it, but for me this was a solid Westside Gunn project. I've only heard like 2 or 3 of his albums max, maybe, and to me this one was one of the better ones. The features or what really stood out to me, it has really solid songs on there like Kitchen Lights, Prime Time, Ultimate Griselda. There's a lot of good songs on there that I personally have gone back to. I will say, as a listener of the first time ever hearing Westside Gunn, it may be annoying at first to get into the album, but trust me, if you listen to it a whole way through, and then if you like a couple songs up there, I would go back and re-listen to it eventually, and you'll probably be used to it. It's just a bit different. Like, he's just a bit different from what I can say is like a normal hip-hop rapper. Alright, next we have another artist I've never heard of, which is SBTRKT. But his album, The Rat Road, or her album, I don't know if it's a dude or a guy, but The Rat Road, very fun, vibey, electronic album. The choruses are really good on here. For the most part, it's a very, very, very chill electronic type of feel. Great for me, for something like I can just like put down in the background if I'm like trying to do some work or something, and I just want to listen to like some chill electronic music. Some upbeat here and there, but for the most part, it's pretty mellow. At 17, Jordan Ward, Forward. Very surprising for me. Never heard of this guy. Great R&B album. Fun. Has some phenomenal songs off of there. The only thing I wish I would have saw was just a bit more. I feel like sometimes he played it a little safe. Like White Crocs is like a song that I feel like is really out there and really him, but a lot of the album isn't like that. I still like it. I still think it's great, but yeah, I just wish I would have saw a little bit more. And it's kind of a short track list too. I was hoping I would get a little bit more. I know he dropped a deluxe. Deluxe was cool, but yeah. At 16, we have Taney's Data. This is a reggaeton album, and the production on here is phenomenal, y'all. If you guys don't know who Taney is, he has worked with J Balvin. He has worked with Bad Bunny. He has worked with Daddy Yankee on some of their albums, and he has done a lot of production for the Latin side of music, from what I've done my research on. And this was like one of his first solo albums, and I was like, okay, you know what, I'll check it out. The album cover looked cool, so I was like, that's the only reason why I checked it out, if I'm being honest. I was like, okay, there's some dude on here with a pink hair. I was like, okay, it looks kind of cool. The production is on another level for me, and I think if you like Latin music, you definitely should go listen to this one. Cracking the top 15, we have Boldy James and Rich Gaines, Indiana Jones. This came out early in the year, and Boldy James, I have heard some songs from him, but not a full album of. He's got chill rap, punchlines are good. It's Boldy. If you guys know who Boldy is, I feel like his punchlines are what excel him to another level as a rapper, and just how nonchalant he is on the beat. The beats on here are very chill. I feel like I need to just like play this whenever I'm like, it's a rainy day, or it's like I'm just like walking somewhere, taking a bus ride or something, you know. It's just something you play and you're like, just vibing to. You just vibing to in the background. You be hearing a punchline here and then you're like, that's a bar. And then it's just like one of those things where you just like keep on going back to the songs and you hear more and more and more. At number 14, we have I Don't Know. Yes, that's the rapper's name. His name is IDK. I don't know if you call him IDK or I don't know, but his album F65, more trap ish, and there's some singing. It's like a mixed bag of both. You get the best of both worlds on here. The trap songs are pretty good. These singing songs are great. Production has some very good jazzy undertones, and I feel like his vocals fit very well with the beats he selected on here. There's definitely some features on here that aren't necessarily needed, like the NLE Choppa one, and some other features I can't think of off the top of my head right now. But I think for the most part, the album is very solid, and definitely a go ahead and listen to it. Coming in at number 13, we have a new group Therapy with I was mature for my age, but I was still a child. I gotta say, very different. This doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, but it's just very different. I don't think they particularly have one sound, which is a good thing for the most part. I think it's cool to keep an open mind. For the majority, I would say is kind of hip-hop, I would say majority, but there's a lot of undertones of like pop, electronic. There's just a lot of everything in here. I think that the choruses as well on here are very good. At number 12, we have Daniel Caesar's Never Enough, the best R&B album of the year to me. Now, I haven't done a lot of R&B album listenings. This one was up there for me. The vocal performances on here were like angelic. It was crazy. Simple but catchy choruses on here. Production on here is very good as well. I've never listened to a Daniel Caesar album, and I've heard a lot of things about this album, and I checked it out, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I liked it. And number 11, a bit of a hot take, I feel like. But for me, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because of the movie or what it is about this, but I have Metro Boomin's The Spider-Verse soundtrack. I don't know if it's the movie that really brings this album or soundtrack into existence or into like this top tier echelon of my list, but I think this is personally, to me, overhated. I think people say like this is pretty whack or pretty. I don't know. I don't understand it. I think the songs over here like Annihilate, Am I Dreaming, All the Way Live, a lot of good songs on here, and I think all the verses on here are very good. And yes, it does help that the movie is very good as well, but to me, it's one of the best soundtracks that I've heard in like recent times, at least, that I can remember off the top of my head. Number 10, we have Larry June and The Alchemist, The Great Escape. The Alchemist makes the list once again. Again, it's The Alchemist. The production on this album is going to be absolutely insane. Larry June, never heard of him, but he definitely has this chill, mellow, low tone voice of rap. Features on here are very good. Some of the best features I think of all year, to be honest. You have a lot of features on here. You have, I think, Boldy, Big Sean, Action Bronson, I believe. You have other people. I can't remember all of them, but there's a lot of good performances on here from the features. And for me, this felt like felt like an album you could just like listen to in the car, just driving, doing a long drive, or just cruising, you know, just kind of cruising on the street. At number 9, we have Rome Street's Nose Candy 5. I'm gonna be honest, great. This is great. The lyrics and the storytelling here are probably some of the best I've heard all year. The production on here is insane. It reminds me of like some type of old school Coke rap. It has that feeling of like being a hustler. Like that's what the album gives to me, and I feel like I could appreciate that a lot. I haven't heard a lot from Rome Streets. At number 8, we have Tyler the Creator, Call Me If You Get Lost, The Estate Sale. Now, some of Tyler's best rapping to me is kind of on this album, and I will say that only because it brings a reflection of him or a sense of clarity as Tyler as an artist. And I think that the beats on here, like What a Day, Dogtooth, Sorry Not Sorry, Wharf Talk, there's some beats that are great on here and that I've played all year. Now, I'm not the biggest Tyler fan, don't get me wrong. I don't listen to his music all the time, but I haven't even listened to Call Me If You Get Lost, the original version yet. Coming in at 7, we have, personally, maybe my favorite album of the year, or maybe my most played. I don't even know, to be honest, but The Kid Leroy's The First Time. Very, very, very fun and very solid to me. It might not be the best, obviously, on the list, that's why it's at 7, but I think that there are a lot of good things on here, like the intro track, Sorry. Phenomenal. The beat drop is great. The vocal performances from Kid Leroy. But I will say the acoustic songs on here did really surprise me. Now, this isn't a perfect album. Like, some of my favorite songs on here are actually some of the pop ones. And I'm not a big fan of pop in general, but like Bleed is a very good song. And at number 6, we have Mick Jenkins, The Patience. I honestly was really hesitant about this going into it. And then I saw reviews coming in. I was like, this album's really good. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. The features look good. It had obviously one of my favorite rappers on right now, Jid. So, you know, I had to go check that out. Very surprising. This album, remember how I was talking about, I think it was Boldy with punchlines? This guy knows how to write punchlines very well. And I feel like every bar was just one-upping itself. It was like, oh, okay, we're starting here. Then we go here. Then we go here. Then we go. I feel like we keep on climbing up and up and up and up. And the features did their thing on here as well. And the beats obviously are great on here. Very short track list, and I think a lot of the songs on there are very good. That's why the short track list really works for him. Alright, cracking the top 5, we have Sampha's Lahai. Now, I have never heard of Sampha's first album. I don't even know what it's called. I think it's called Process or The Process. I forget. But the Lahai album, it felt like there was so much care and effort put into it. I've never heard of a Sampha song, but I know he's been featured in a lot of different artists like Drake, Travis Scott, Kendrick Lamar, a lot of people. The songs on here are great. The electronic feel to it feels very blissful. It just feels like the cover, I think it does a perfect job of how you should feel on the album. I didn't look too deep into the lyrics because it's an electronic album, so I was really heavy on the production on this side, but it was very, very, very solid. I really enjoyed it. Coming in at number 4, we have JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown's Scaring the Hoes. It is very different, but yet it works really well. I think it's like a fusion of hip-hop, rock, electronic. It's just different. I don't really know how to explain it. It was just fun, different. The lyrics on there are funny. They're good. It's just fun. It's just a fun album. And for me, I know a lot of people were saying this is album of the year for them, or best rap album for the year. Not for me personally, but I don't know if that's just my bias or I just don't really listen to, you know, JPEG Mafia or Danny Brown like that a lot. I feel like it's one of those things where I'll listen to here and there, but it's just not one of those things I go back to all that often. All right, number 3. We have Navy Blue, Ways of Knowing. I'm gonna be honest, I slept on this album when it first came out. And then I started to do something with my friend called Music 101 where we were doing different albums. And I forget how this even came up. I don't know if I recommended it or if he recommended it. I don't remember what happened. But this album is very underrated, y'all. Very underrated. It grew on me a lot of soulful beats in here. Storytelling on this album is phenomenal. I've never heard of Navy Blue, and I thought this was really, really good. Some of my favorite songs, like Pillars, very emotional, and they definitely just hit like a chord with me because some of it I have personal relatability to. A lot of the songs sometimes I have relatability to. And it just feels like it doesn't feel underground, but it just feels like it's someone who really cared about this album. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was made either for his grandpa or his dad. I don't remember. But it was It was very good. At number 2, y'all, we have Travis Scott's Utopia. Utopia is Utopia. I gotta say, the way Travis can make a song out of a simple sound and make it work really well, also by keeping it still with the same theme of being a utopia, really impressed me. It's been 5 years since we heard Astroworld. Astroworld was cool. I liked it. Obviously, Utopia, I was like, is it gonna live up to the hype? You know, is it gonna live up to Astroworld, or what people say is his best, Rodeo? Is it gonna live up to that? To me, this could be one of Travis Scott's best albums, in my opinion. But Utopia is great. Now, there is a lot of bad songs on here. Like, I hate Love with Kid Cudi. I hate it. I do not like Circus Maximus. I do not like that song at all. I think it's a blatant ripoff of Black Skinhead, and I'm fine with covers, but if you're gonna do a cover, I feel like it has to be better or just as good as the original. If it's anywhere below that, I'm not listening to it. I got my song of the year off of this album, which is My Eyes. My Eyes is a phenomenal song. It's his best song by far to me. It is his best song by far to me, and the song of the year of 2023 for me personally. Now, at number 1, Lil Yachty's. Let's start here. This was very, very, very shocking to me, y'all. Yachty had a big year for him. His career did a full 180. He obviously put out this alternative album, a psychedelic rock type of album, and I think he does it very, very, very well. Yeah, so there was 14 songs on here, and I didn't like say like 1 or 2, but the other songs were like, I want to say maybe all 7s and above. And that's pretty good for me. That's pretty good. Maybe even all 8s. I don't even know. The album is just great. It's been in my rotation constantly throughout the year. The songs like The Black Seminole are just great. A great way to start off an album. It was a very shocking turn for Lil Yachty, and it was like what are we doing here? It was like what are we doing here? How do we go from singing, doing auto-tune and doing Call Minnesota to this? You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. I still like some of old Yachty, but this was insane. And like the last 3 songs, like the run of Paint the Sky, Should I Be, and The Alchemist, a very, very, very back-to-back 3-song run. This album is great. This is a must-hear for me. I really enjoyed it and had a lot of fun with it. So yeah, guys, that's my list. And I want to know what your guys' give me your guys' top 5, top 10 in the comments below. If you want to drop a top 25, go ahead, do it. I'll see you guys in the next video, and peace.